Level 1, Halcon, Lookout. You stand on a dusty street corner where the heat clings to your skin, pretending to scroll through a cracked phone while your eyes quietly track every car that slows down more than it should. Your posture stays relaxed, but your mind is sharp, catching details most people would ignore. License plates, tinted windows, faces that don't belong here. A pickup truck rolls past once, then again, slower this time, and your grip tightens slightly as you angle your phone just enough to snap a picture without drawing attention. You don't type anything. You don't need to. A photo, a missed call, a single tap. That's enough to say everything. Across the street, two men exchange something quickly without making eye contact, and you keep your gaze forward, acting like the reflection in the glass is more interesting than reality. Behind you, a door slams hard, voices rise, then cut off instantly, and every instinct tells you not to turn around. By the end of the night, someone presses folded bills into your hand, thicker than anything you've earned before, and you feel something shift inside you. Because now you understand, you're not just watching anymore, you're part of it. Level 2, Corridor, Runner. Now you carry a bag that never leaves your side even when you sit down, your body staying tense like you might need to move at any second. Inside are tightly wrapped packages, sealed so carefully they don't shift. But the way people look at you makes it clear they're worth more than your life. You move through crowded streets with purpose, blending in just enough to disappear while constantly adjusting your path, switching buses, cutting through alleys, doubling back without making it obvious. Every siren in the distance sends a sharp pulse through your chest, even when it has nothing to do with you. One afternoon, a checkpoint appears where there wasn't one before, flashing lights cutting through the street as uniforms block your path completely. An officer gestures toward your bag, his expression unreadable, and as your fingers slowly pull the zipper down, time stretches in a way that feels unnatural. Then suddenly, a crash erupts behind you, metal twisting, people shouting, and in that split second, attention shifts just long enough for you to step forward and keep walking. You don't run, you don't look back, but hours later, your hands are still shaking. That's when you realize something that stays with you. Survival here isn't skill, it's timing. Level 3, Sicario, Enforcer. You don't carry packages anymore. Now you carry responsibility, and it feels heavier than anything physical ever could. In a dim room lit by a single flickering bulb, a man sits tied to a chair in front of you, his breathing uneven, his eyes locked onto yours like you're the last thing he'll ever see. Someone behind you speaks calmly and says he talked, and just like that, everything becomes clear without needing explanation. The man starts talking fast, offering promises, throwing out anything he thinks might save him. But you don't let yourself listen, because listening would only make this harder. For a moment, your mind searches for a reason to hesitate, something to slow you down, but the silence behind you feels heavier than any order you've ever heard. So you move, quick, final, no room for doubt. Later that night, you stand at a sink, washing your hands again and again, watching the water run like it might take something with it. But it doesn't. When you finally look up at your reflection, there's no confusion left anymore. Only recognition. Level 4, Jefe de Grupo, Crew Leader. Now you give orders, and people wait for your signal before they move, watching your face like every decision you make could decide how the night ends. A deal is set in a quiet location, every detail planned carefully, but the moment it begins, something feels off in a way you can't explain. Voices rise too quickly, tension snapping like a wire pulled too tight, and before anyone else reacts, you make the call that changes everything. The room erupts, movement everywhere, people scrambling, control disappears in seconds. When it's over, one of your own doesn't get back up, and for a brief moment, everything around you feels distant, like it's happening somewhere else. Later, your superior doesn't shout or threaten you. He just watches you carefully and reminds you in a calm voice that hesitation costs lives. That night, you replay every second in your head until one thought becomes clear. Hesitation is something you can't afford anymore. Level 5, Teniente, Lieutenant. Money doesn't come in small stacks anymore. Now it moves in waves, flowing through accounts and businesses that look clean from the outside. You sit in quiet offices signing documents that transform dirty cash into something untouchable, something that moves freely without raising questions. Numbers climb higher every week, but so do the problems, because at this level, issues don't disappear, they multiply. A shipment goes missing without explanation. A driver stops answering calls. A name appears somewhere it shouldn't. Your phone never stays silent, and every call feels like it could be the one that changes everything. You handle each situation quickly, without emotion, because thinking too long only creates space for mistakes. Over time, you stop questioning your decisions, not because they're right, but because questioning slows you down. And slowly, without realizing it, you become someone who no longer reacts, only calculates. Level 6, Patron de Plaza, Plaza Boss. Now you control territory. Entire neighborhoods where streets, businesses, and even silence fall under your influence. When you move through your area, conversations stop without warning, doors close, and people avoid eye contact like it's instinct. A rival group begins testing your boundaries, making small moves to see how far they can push before you respond. You don't wait for them to prove anything, because waiting only gives them time to grow stronger. Your response comes fast and overwhelming, sending a message that spreads through whispers long before anyone says it out loud. By morning, everything looks normal again, but you understand the truth. Nothing about this is stable. Control at this level isn't something you gain once. It's something you defend every single day. Even sleep feels different now. Lighter, shorter. Because somewhere in your mind, you know losing focus for even a moment can cost everything. Level 7, Capo Kingpin. You rarely step outside anymore, because everything comes to you through layers of people who handle problems before they ever reach your level. Meetings happen in controlled environments where phones are left outside, and every word is measured carefully like it could carry consequences. Operations stretch across borders, moving through systems built over years, each one designed to keep everything running without interruption. But with that level of control comes something you didn't expect. Doubt. Small details begin to feel wrong. A delayed response. A glance that lasts a second too long. A report that arrives just a little later than it should. Then a shipment gets intercepted too cleanly, and suddenly you know the problem isn't outside. It's somewhere close. You start removing people quietly, cutting off anyone who even slightly feels uncertain, because at this level, trust becomes a risk. And over time, that risk turns into something else entirely. Paranoia. Level 8. El Fantasma, the ghost at the top. Now you have everything you once thought you wanted. Money flowing endlessly, power stretching further than you can see. But instead of freedom, your world becomes smaller, confined behind guarded walls designed to protect you from everything outside. You don't eat without checking. You don't move without planning. You don't trust anyone completely anymore. Every sound feels like a warning. Every silence feels like something waiting just out of sight. You spend your time watching screens, listening to updates, questioning details that never used to matter before. Sometimes you think about leaving, about disappearing somewhere far away and starting over like none of this ever happened. But deep down, you already know the truth. There is no leaving the life you built. Because at the top, power doesn't feel like control anymore. It feels like a cage you locked yourself inside.